Look at the sheer scale of this arena. Tens of thousands of fans pack these seats every week, primarily to witness the established hierarchy of modern professional wrestling. And at the very top of that food chain sits the original tribal chief. Roman Reigns has held an iron grip over the Bloodline and the entire roster for years. He built an aura of invulnerability, dictating the pace of every encounter and breaking down challengers before the bell even rings. But a new variable entered the equation. Jacob Fatu operates with an unfiltered aggression that doesn't follow the standard rules of the ring. He moves at a speed and intensity that ignores the traditional flow of a match. Normally, Roman uses psychological intimidation to paralyze his opponents. They anticipate the impact of his signature moves, brace for the end, and ultimately succumb to the pressure of fighting the apex predator. When the man at the top of the hierarchy meets a force that simply doesn't recognize his authority, the resulting collision becomes inevitable. The established order of the Bloodline isn't prepared for an opponent who is immune to Roman's mental games. We reach a critical juncture in the brawl where Reigns falls back on his most reliable tool. He stands in the corner, cocks his arm, and gets locked and loaded for the strike that has ended dozens of main events. This maneuver relies on forward momentum. It is designed to concentrate maximum force into a single impact that traditionally signals an immediate referee stoppage or a pinfall. Instead of staying down to absorb the damage, Fatu simply gets right back up. He absorbs the blunt force and immediately resets his stance, ignoring the mechanical damage Reigns just dealt. This creates a dangerous power vacuum in the center of the ring. Reigns has fired his best weapon, exhausted his forward momentum, and suddenly finds himself exposed against an attacker who hasn't slowed down. That momentary lapse in defense gave Fatu the opening he needed to launch a retaliation that bypassed Roman's entire defensive system. Fatu inverts the momentum of the fight in a fraction of a second. He intercepts Reigns mid-motion and physically neutralizes him before the Chief can recover his stance. This diagram shows how the Tongan Death Grip operates. A vice-like squeeze to the neck's nerve clusters cuts off oxygen, shutting down Reigns' motor functions. Watch the physical toll on Fatu himself. His eyes roll back, signaling a massive adrenaline spike, bypassing physical limiters. Commentators described it as a demonic possession for a reason. Fatu stops trying to win a wrestling match and transitions into a state where his sole objective is to neutralize Roman Reigns. Fatu's counter is a psychological disruption rooted in physical efficiency. By choking out the man who usually controls the ring, he shatters the aura Reigns relies on to win. With Reigns fading, Fatu shifts his attention from the hold itself to the surrounding architecture. He drags the Chief out of the ring and lines him up with the broadcast desk. Fatu hoists a 265-pound man straight into the air, maximizing the vertical drop to generate the highest possible kinetic energy on impact. Fatu drives Reigns straight downward, folding him through the solid monitors and wood of the desk in a massive, splintering collision. Destroying the ringside environment physically manifests the destruction of the Bloodline's internal power structure, taking the carefully controlled environment of the show and reducing it to rubble. The collapse of that table is the physical proof of Fatu's dominance. The original tribal chief has been flattened, and the power dynamic has been violently reset. Even with Reigns buried in the wreckage of the broadcast desk, the danger remains active. Fatu does not signal for the end of the brawl. Fatu crawls back into the debris and reapplies the Tongan Death Grip directly to the throat of a man who is already incapacitated. Security and officials flood the area, trying to pry his fingers apart, while Fatu operates with all gas, no brakes, actively fighting through anyone trying to pull him away. This reveals a systemic danger to the roster. When a combatant ignores the referee, the officials, and the fact that an opponent is already neutralized, the entire safety structure of the show collapses. Fatu's refusal to stop was not mindless rage, but a calculated message broadcast to the entire roster. The old boundaries of the fight no longer exist. The commentary team cuts through the chaos with a defining assessment of the wreckage. The OTC is DOA. Those three letters confirm a total inversion of power. The leader of the industry's most dominant faction has been physically removed from the board. We started by looking at a man who projected complete invulnerability. Now we are looking at that same man, unconscious, being dragged out of a splintered table by medical staff. Jacob Fatu has established himself as the new, uncontrollable threat in the Bloodline. By dismantling the king of the roster, he leaves Roman Reigns' future ability to